What's going on, guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Attractions Guide monthly podcast. Now, last month I did say that future podcasts will be video recorded as well, but this month I'm not feeling too great, so I don't really fancy showing my face on camera, so I'm just going to do it via an audio podcast, so you guys can listen to it without any videos on your screen. I will input some videos of some of the topics that I'm going to discuss during this podcast, but I'm not feeling too great. We've just come back from Alton Towers opening weekend, and I've started to pick up some sort of virus, so I don't want to be seen on camera. But away from that, so the main topics we're going to talk about in this podcast is the Alton Towers opening weekend. So have a bit of a roundup of our experience over the weekend at Alton Towers. Some are good and some are bad. We're going to discuss the opening of the brand new attraction, the Alton Towers Dungeon. And we're going to also have a little segment of, do we have good audio at UK theme parks? Now, I'm going to start off with an opening weekend of Alton Towers roundup. To start that off, it was absolutely operationally fantastic across the theme park throughout the opening weekend. Now, I'm not going to go into this a little bit too much, but as you've seen from our previous videos of the opening weekend of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Alton Towers knocked the ball out the park with the way that they opened this weekend. Operationally, everything was ready, and I felt like they'd done the best to get the park open. Now, the two rides that wasn't open was Enterprise as well as Congo River Rapids. Now, with Enterprise, it seemed to be somewhat of a building site because there was quite a few notices that was on the exterior fences. So yeah, as I was saying before I got interrupted there, it seemed like Enterprise was a complete building site. It did have fencing all the way around it, and Enterprise was in bits, so I'd like to see what's going on with that. I know Alton Towers have been quick to take to Twitter to rectify that and say that it's just undergoing maintenance. So maybe they're waiting for a few parts, who knows. So apart from that, you've got Congo River Rapids. That was also that had its new boats pretty much going around the course for the whole of the 2 days, really, with staff on some of the rides. But we've just got to wait and see what happens with them. I know possibly Congo River Rapids will open up in spring, but we don't know about Enterprise. I know Alton Towers, like I said, have tweeted to say that it will be coming back at some point this year, so we're just going to wait and see for that. So yeah, operationally fantastic across the theme park. Great friendly staff. Ride operatives were great, as well as food and beverage hosts. But I will get onto that topic in a little bit because we had an issue at Secret Garden Restaurant on Saturday night. But yeah, like I said, and not to dwell on it too much, Blackpool Pleasure Beach should have taken some advice from Alton Towers in that directive, because obviously Alton Towers had completely smashed it out the park in terms of operationally. All the rides were great. They were running fantastic. Wicker Man was on 2 trains for the second day, and I think it was on a 3rd train for the first. Nemesis was on 2 trains. Absolutely fantastic. Galactica was running really, really well, even though we didn't go on it. But yeah, the whole park seemed to have everything ready for opening weekend, and it looked like the staff could cope with the numbers that was on at the park at that time. The queues were quite bad, expected during opening weekend. I really do think Alton Towers should run a Merlin Annual Pass Day. That's taken a bit of a leaf out of Thorpe Park's book, because then you can have a day where it's just pass holders, and then obviously you've got the other days for the rest of the general public. But yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. We loved it, and I can't wait to go back there again. We're going back on the 4th of April for the day, so we'll bring some more content to the channel. If you haven't seen already, we've uploaded our full in-depth Dungeons review, as well as a full cinematic montage of the weekend. Now, I have had a few questions in the past asking why I don't vlog my trips. I'm not a vlogger, and I never will be. It's not the avenue that I want to go down. I don't mind sitting in front of a camera, but I don't feel like I'd benefit from vlogging at parks, and it's not something that I've wanted to do. So maybe I might do a few on location speaking, maybe closer towards the time of Scarefest with some Scarefest updates and stuff like that. But I don't see myself vlogging anytime soon, so that might answer a few questions that I've been receiving via Twitter and email over the past probably about 4 months. But, we've got loads of content to bring to the channel in the next coming days and weeks. This is actually my last day off now for 4, so I'll try and get as much content scheduled to go on live on the channel during my busy work schedule over the next 4 days. So yeah, let's talk about the one issue that I had with Alton Towers, and that was at Secret Garden Restaurant on the Saturday evening. We waited 2 hours for our food, and the restaurant wasn't actually too busy. Now, we had an excuse from one of the hosts in there, and they said because one of our guys had ordered a starter, once the starters come, the normal food doesn't get processed for 45 minutes. Now, I've never heard of that rule being brought in any restaurant. Only one of the guys on our table, we had a massive table of like 9 or 10, had a starter. And obviously, they said the order doesn't get processed until 45 minutes after that starter's been dished out onto the table. I can understand with a starter, but the guys knew that we all wasn't having starters, so they could have come over and asked if we wanted our food pretty much straight away. I have experienced that in some restaurants before where they've said, look, do you want your food pretty much straight after the starter? But we didn't even get that option, and that's where a few of us started to become a little bit deflated in terms of the experience, and it pretty much put a downer on the whole evening. So we waited 2 hours for the food. The restaurant wasn't too busy. We kept getting promised it'd be on its way, and it wasn't. Overall, a bad experience. Now, I hate to complain, but when money's involved, you want to get what you paid for. And the Secret Garden Restaurant, as many of you may know, isn't the cheapest restaurant going. And I feel like we just didn't get that level of service that we wanted. Fair play to the manager. Once all of our food had come. So bear in mind, we was due to be sat at our table for 7:30. We got there pretty much for 7:20. We got sat down, and the last meal, which was mine, funny enough, didn't come out onto the table until 9:05. That is an absolute joke. It was awful. The food was awful. I didn't eat it. I had a few bites of it, and it felt like it was a little bit rushed, to say the least. So I ate the garlic bread and onion rings, but I didn't eat anything else. And it'd have been much better to just order a takeaway to the resort, or maybe go to the Crooked Spoon, which I've actually ate there twice and never had a single issue. But saying that, Secret Garden Restaurant's a great restaurant. We went on the Friday night, no issues whatsoever. We went for breakfast. The breakfast is pretty much self-service, so it's hard to balls that one up. But I'd never had an issue with this restaurant before, and would I go back there again? No, absolutely not. But fair play to the manager. The manager turned around to us and said, look, we understand, so pay for your drinks, but don't pay for the meals. And some of our guys actually eating their meals as well, so It was very nice of them, fantastic customer services, but I felt like the staff mustn't have been able to cope with the amounts of orders, or it seems like the staff was running around like headless chickens. Now, I hate to badmouth restaurants because I can understand how much running about these guys do. Now, I've never worked in a restaurant. I've worked in the fast food industry, but never worked in a restaurant, and I can understand that it can be quite a hard thing to deal with, especially when you're getting loads of people complaining. But at the end of the day, you need to maintain that excellent level of customer services, and I felt like we wasn't getting that. But fair play to the manager. The manager had pretty much, she felt where we was coming from, and she practically said just pay for your drinks, which was great. So that was fantastic customer services, and that kind of picked the spirits up a little bit again. But every time we kept thinking about it, it just kind of put a downer on. And I was left pretty much hungry for the rest of the evening then. So yeah, that wasn't really a good experience, and I don't think I'd be in a rush to go there again. Some of you guys may absolutely love that place and say, oh, well, we've never had a problem. You know what? Each to their own. If you guys love it, then my little incident and issue isn't going to reflect on your opinion of that restaurant, and it shouldn't do. Maybe if you've never been there before and you're thinking about going, maybe try somewhere else, but that's not me trying to deplete Alton Towers of business in the restaurants. But as well as I do, not everything's perfect, and maybe at some point later in the season I'll be willing to give that a second chance. But at this moment in time, I don't feel like it deserves a second chance, to be honest. So I think the Crooked Spoon will be the place where I eat next time I stay over at the Alton Towers Hotel. So apart from that, Alton Towers was absolutely fantastic during the opening weekend. I did record some stuff of the stargazing pods and a little bit of a pre-Alton Towers opening video on a Friday, so I'll insert that now alongside a little clip of the stargazing pod. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video here on the Attractions Guide YouTube channel. I'm here at the Alton Towers Resort a day before it's set to open. We're staying at Alton Towers Hotel, also known as ATH. We've just been for a little walk, and as you can see behind me, Galactica's there in the distance. I know it's not in focus, but yeah, we're here. We can't wait to be back on the park tomorrow. I hope you like the cinematic style footage that we've included in this video. It was something that I just conjured up on the way here and when I got here. So yeah, we can't wait to be bringing you fantastic content here on the Attractions Guide YouTube channel with this brand new camera. We certainly are very, very, very excited. As I've said previously, Galactic has been testing, and we've heard some other rides in the area testing, but that's all really. We're going back to the hotel now for a little bit of a relax, ready for a busy day tomorrow. So as you can see there, construction is well and truly underway. We should have some workers over there, obviously creating the entrance for that. And then these are all the stargazing pods. Quite surprising how many there is. We do have this fencing, so take a closer look. We have these fences here, obviously because it is a working construction site. And as you can see, just in the distance there, that looks like to be the main reception area, the TP tents. And they spread all across here, and as you can see by all these little green posts that are dotted about, they are going to be eventually trees. They're going to develop into trees because obviously they've planted quite a lot of trees whilst being here. So let's get on to the Alton Towers dungeons. Now, what a fantastic attraction Alton Towers have done here. They've definitely hit the nail on the head with this attraction. By far the best dungeon experience I have ever done. Now, I've only done 3. Blackpool Tower Dungeons, York Dungeon, and the Alton Towers Dungeon. Now, York Dungeon, I don't really remember much of it because it may be about 4 or 5 years ago when I first got my Merlin annual pass. But I don't really know that much about that attraction. But as far as I'm concerned, the Alton Towers Dungeon is easily the best. I'm not going to talk too much about it because my review is already live on our channel. Link is in the description for that. But as I said in my review, I was very sceptical when Alton released news about having a Dungeons attraction at Towers, and I didn't think it would work, but I couldn't have been more wrong. The Dungeons is now open, so go and experience it for yourself, and let us know what you think about it. You know, the Dungeons has had plenty of good feedback, and I know that due to looking on Twitter and Instagram and all social medias, and it was overall a fantastic experience. And I think the finale is just unbelievable. I don't really want to say too much about it in this video because I know it'll probably prevent you from watching the review because the review's like 19 minutes long. But it's absolutely fantastic and you need to head down there to experience it yourself. Tickets are £7.50 on the day or £5 when booked in advance. On the Saturday, they did reach capacity for the dungeon, so no tickets were available to purchase on the day on the Saturday. But Sunday, we managed to purchase another ticket, which cost us £5 with our Merlin annual pass discount. So that was an absolute fantastic experience, and we can't wait to go through it again on the 4th of April. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is, do we have good audio at UK theme parks? I personally think we do, especially at Alton Towers. I'm a Score, a Germany-based music and sound production company that creates musical masterpieces for the theme park industry. Nominated for 7 awards, they have produced music for Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, Legoland Windsor, and Phantasialand. Now, these have created music for Tower Street, the ambience music that you're greeted with when you enter the theme park, as well as Galactica and Wicker Man and the Smiler. They've actually created the Smiler's audio as well. Now, this is what I love about Merlin Parks, more so Alton Towers. It's going to be a bit of a recurring thing in this video, this podcast, shall I say, of me talking about Alton Towers. Is I'm going to use Blackpool Pleasure Beach as a comparison. Now, prior to Icon opening, Blackpool Pleasure Beach played chart music. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of a theme park that uses chart music around the whole park. Blackpool Pleasure Beach isn't a theme park. I know it's an amusement park. But with Icon, that kind of changed a little bit. You know, Icon has absolutely fantastic audio. But I think the rest of the park needs to have some sort of in-house or externally created music and not just blare out chart music, because I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. I am in summer, don't get me wrong, because in summer it's nice and warm and you can have a few drinks and nice good music's playing. But I think to step in the right direction, you need fantastic audio throughout the whole park, and that's what Blackpool Pleasure Beach lacks. Alton Towers, on the other hand, have fantastic audio playing throughout the whole of the theme park. You've got Galactica, the Smiler, and Wicker Man. And I mean, Wicker Man's my favourite soundtrack that's played at that theme park. And in my opinion, I'm a Score create the best theme park audio there is. Another notable composer of music is Nick Hudson. He creates some fantastic audio here in the UK and abroad. Most noticed for his contributions in creating some great audio for Scarefest at Alton Towers, we are genuinely quite lucky in terms of great audio at these UK theme parks. You know, if you want to go and listen to some of Nick Hudson's stuff, head over to his YouTube channel. The link will be in the description below. And go and give him a subscribe as well. That'll be much appreciated. He creates some fantastic audio for theme parks. My favourite is Subspecies. If you don't know what Subspecies is, it is a scare maze at Alton Towers. He created some fantastic audio for Alton Towers, and his work doesn't go unnoticed within the theme park community. It's absolutely fantastic. So, another notable great piece of music created by Imascore is at Liseberg for Helix. Now, I experienced Helix last year for the first time. Just the way you go in the queue line, and you know you're waiting for you're waiting to board in the station. It's just a fantastic piece of audio, and we absolutely love it. And you can go and listen to that. They do have a few snippets over on the Imascore website and YouTube channel. Go and give them a listen, and tell me what you think, because I think they're absolutely fantastic. Going back onto the Nick Hudson side of things, a future project of ours, we're going to take a further in-depth look of the man behind Scarefest, Fright Nights, Chessington World of Adventures, and plenty more audio. And we're going to be completely putting a video together of some of Nick Hudson's work, because it shouldn't be going unnoticed within the community, because that guy has created some musical masterpieces for us in the United Kingdom, and I can't wait to listen to some of his new stuff when he releases them, or when I'm at a park and it's the music that he's created. Absolute fantastic composer of music. I don't know anything really about composing music or anything like that, but I certainly know a good song or a good audio experience when I hear one. So, Nick Hudson, my friend, fantastic work you've done for the UK theme park community, and we, the Attractions Guide, look forward to listening to more of your masterpieces in the future. So we're going to look now at some of our future trips that we've got planned for this year. So I'm going to start off with ones that I've actually near enough set in stone. We're going to be visiting Europa Park and Disneyland in December time for their Christmas events. That's something that I've wanted to do for a number amount of years now, and I can't wait. So we'll be visiting them, hopefully. That's if anything changes, but I don't see anything changing anytime soon. I'm also going to try and go back for a trip to Liseberg at some point in the year. Where I live in Manchester, Ryanair have just brought some fantastic flights to Gothenburg, where Liseberg is situated. The one issue we had last year was we had to travel from Stansted, because they're not very good with flights up here in Manchester in terms of getting to and from Gothenburg. But this year, Ryanair have launched some new flights over to Gothenburg, and we can't wait to go. So I'm going to be visiting there at some point throughout this year. Obviously, we're going to have some visits to Thorpe Park, Chessington World of Adventures, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and some more visits to Alton Towers. Now, the one place that I do want to visit this year is Thorpe Park at Fright Nights. I've never visited at Fright Nights, so that'll be a first for me and a first for the channel, so it'll be bringing some content to the channel. And I think this year we're going to attempt at bringing some more content from scare attractions. You know, we have locally around myself, we have some fantastically well-known attractions around here. We've got Farmageddon and Scare Kingdom, so they are quite close to where I'm situated. So at some point in the year, we'll release our plans for the scare season and what attractions that we're going to visit this year. But that's about it for this episode. It's going to be a bit of a short episode because I didn't want to go into too much depth of the Alton Towers dungeons because I've already released a review about that, so there'd be no point in me creating a full podcast over it when I already have a full review that is currently live on the YouTube channel. I also have, like I said, a Alton Towers cinematic montage from the opening weekend. That'll also be in the description below alongside the link for the Alton Towers Dungeons review. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully next month I'll be back in front of a camera because I've just been feeling quite poorly this past couple of days and I've not really fancied being on camera. So, but yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening and I will see you in the next podcast. Like always, all social media links will be in the description below. Thank you very much for listening and I will see you in the next one. See you later, guys.